So, the next thing we're going to look at is the concept of algorithms. Okay, the concept of algorithm. Now, like I've said in the earlier videos I made about programs are simply set of instructions that tells the computer what to do in a simple term. They instruct the computer, they controls the computer, everything that the computer does, it's as a result of programming. Now, if we are to write instructions, we should first of all know the kind of instructions that we want to write and know how we want those instructions to be executed. Okay, so an algorithm is simply a step-by-step procedures on how a particular problem will be solved. Okay, now in the aspect of writing instructions, now we want to write instructions for the computer to carry out. Now before we write such instructions, we should first of all understand what instructions we want the computer to carry out and also how the computer is going to carry out those instructions. And that is what gives rise to algorithm. That is to say, before you write a program, you must first of all write an algorithm. Okay, now an algorithm can come in two different ways. An algorithm can be a pseudocode, that is just a normal write up. You can decide to write in English, you can decide to write in French, you can decide to write in any language that you are comfortable with. But provided you are writing the algorithm in a particular language, maybe write-ups, okay, now that is known as a pseudocode. Okay, then apart from pseudocode, we also have the flowcharts. Okay, now the flowcharts are more generalized when it comes to the concept of not just algorithm, the concept of modeling in software development and not just even in software development, in any kind of planning system where you have modeling. Now, the flowchart is like a model that is generally acceptable because most of the symbols that we use to draw the flowchart. Okay, first of all, the flowchart is simply a diagrammatic representation of your algorithm. That means representing your algorithm in the form of a diagram. Okay, so and these diagrams, there are some elements of the diagrams that must be very, very visible and understandable, just like in the concept of every model, whether a database model, whether an architectural model, anything that is a model. One of the concepts of a model is that it should have this a proper semantics. That is to say, there should be a proper meaning to the model. That means when someone look at the model, it should be able to tell what the model is doing, the procedures in the model. Okay, so because of this, now a flowchart have various symbols that are generalized. That means when it's each of these symbols mean different things. Okay, so to me, flowchart is more technical than using a pseudocode. But whichever way or whichever one you are comfortable with as a developer that wants to model the 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 the, the, the particular problem you are trying to solve as developer, if you feel the pseudocode is more easy for you or is more convenient for you, then you go with the pseudocode. If you think the flowchart using the symbols is more convenient for you, you go with the flowcharts. Okay, now let's look at some of these flowcharts and the symbols and see what they mean. At the same time, we're going to look at the pseudocode using English form. Then we are going to put some examples of maybe problems that we're trying to solve. Then we'll write algorithms for these problems and solve them using the algorithm. Okay, now the last thing I want to point out is this: when we talk about algorithm should not be biased based on language. That is to say, if I write an algorithm now to solve a particular problem, that algorithm should be able to solve the problem using any kind of programming language that you want to use. Okay, any kind of programming language, whether even the technology you're using, whether you're using a mobile technology, whether you want to use Dart or the Flutter framework, or you want to use Laravel, which is a PHP framework, or you want to use any kind of language at all, whether PHP, whether JavaScript, whether QBasic, even if it's Pascal or Fortran or COBOL, a flowchart should be able to solve problem irrespective of the programming language that you are using. Okay, so in the next video we're going to see some examples of flowcharts and pseudocode, which are types of algorithms.